Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. In this MLB offseason, I've been doing the Mount Rushmores by position. So in these, I attempt to name the four best players in MLB history at each position. I've went through all the offensive hitter positions. Now we're going to move to the pitchers. In this one, I'm going to attempt to name the four best right-handed starting pitchers in MLB history. Obviously not an easy task. There were some superb names I had to leave off. I'll name a few honorable mentions at the end. I'll name the four right-handed starters in alphabetical order by last name. They are not ranked. This was challenging, guys. I did my best. Let's get into it. I also don't look at things such as PEDs, off the field issues. I did not let them sway my decisions. I strictly looked at how the player performed on the field. Let's get into it. Starting with the Rocket, Roger Clemens. Clemens made his debut in 1984, pitched in the big leagues until 2007. Had a combined 354 and 184 record, 3.12 ERA, 4,672 strikeouts, a 1.17 whip. Clemens, all in all, won 7 Cy Youngs, which is an MLB record. 6 of them came in the AL, 3 with Boston, 2 with Toronto, 1 with the Yankees, and 1 in the National League with the Houston Astros. He also had Cy Young finishes of 2nd, 3rd twice, 6th twice, so was far and known as one of the best pitchers in the game. In 1986, he was also named the MVP of the American League. That season, he went 24-4, 2.48 ERA, and 238 strikeouts. 5 seasons he led the big league in strikeouts, 4 in wins, and 7 seasons he led his league in ERA. 3 times complete games, 6 times in shutouts. The Rocket won 2 World Series back-to-back years with the Yankees in 1999 and 2000. Was stellar in his 2 World Series starts, giving up just 1 earned run in 15 and 2/3 innings in his 2 starts with the Yankees. He was an 11-time All-Star, twice won the Triple Crown of pitching, leading the league in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Roger Clemens, yes, he has his off-the-field things, but if we're looking at how he pitched alone, I included him on the right-handed Mount Rushmore. Next, we're going to go way back in the past to the big train. Walter Johnson made his MLB debut in 1907, inducted in the Hall of Fame in the inaugural class in 1936. In parts of 21 seasons, Walter Johnson went 417 and 279 with a 2.17 ERA, had 3,509 strikeouts, and a very low 1.06 whip. Of course, Cy Youngs were not given out when he pitched, but he was named the MVP of the AL both in 1913 and 1924. If you look at his baseball reference page, there is black ink galore as he led the league in strikeouts 12 times. He led the league in wins 6 times, ERA 5 times, complete games 6 times, shutouts 7 times, whip 6 times. So again, amongst the game's best pitchers for much of the turn of the 20th century. Was a member of the 1924 Senators team that won the World Series. He made 2 starts in that World Series. Walter Johnson, all in all, had 20 wins every season from 1910 to 1919, and then again in 1924 and 1925. The major league leader in MLB history with 110 shutouts in his career. Walter Johnson, the second member of the right-handed starter Mount Rushmore. Next, another guy who made his mark mostly in the 90s, Mad Dog Greg Maddux, the Professor, inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2014. Maddux pitched parts of 23 seasons from 1986 to 2008. All in all, went 355 and 227 with a 3.16 ERA, had 3,371 strikeouts, and a 1.14 whip. Uh, Long seen as one of the game's best pitchers, especially in the 90s. From 1992 to 1995, in those 4 seasons, Maddox was a NL Cy Young winner. The 3 following seasons, he finished 5th, 2nd, 4th in Cy Young voting. Also finished 3rd in 2000 and 1989. He was also the best defensive pitcher for much of his career, winning 18 Gold Gloves. That's incredible. Maddox led the league in ERA 4 times, wins 3 times, complete games 3 times, shutouts 5 times, whip 4 times. Known as one of the game's best at control. For his career, he walked less than 2 batters per 9 innings and had 9 seasons in which he led the NL in walks per 9 innings. In 1995, he was a member of the World Series winning Atlanta Braves as they defeated the Cleveland, then known as the Indians, giving up just 4 earned runs in 16 innings in 2 starts in that World Series. Greg Maddux was an 8-time All-Star, the 3rd member of the right-handed Mount Rushmore. And last, let's go with probably the best Met of all time, that being Tom Seaver, inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1992. Seaver pitched parts of 20 seasons, spanning from 1967 to 1986. For his career, he went 311 and 205 with a 2.86 ERA, had 3,640 strikeouts, a 1.12 whip. Started off his career on the right foot as he was named the 1967 NL Rookie of the Year. Also was named the Cy Young in 1969, 1973, and 1975. He also had Cy Young finishes of 2nd twice, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th. In 1969, he was the runner-up for NL MVP. That season, he also was a member of the Mets team that won the World Series, had a 2.77 ERA in 8 career starts. In the postseason, Seaver led the league in wins 3 times, ERA 3 times, strikeouts 5 times, and whip 3 times in his career. He was a 12-time All-Star. Each of his first, if you go from 1967 to 1978, so in that 12-season span, in 11 of those seasons, he had under a 3 ERA. The only season he didn't was 1974 when it was 3.20. His best ERA came in 1971 when he had a 1.76 ERA. Seaver had 5 seasons of at least 20 wins. He is the 4th member of the right-handed starters Mount Rushmore. So again, in alphabetical order by last name, we got Roger Clemens, Walter Johnson, Greg Maddux, and Tom Seaver. As you can imagine, there were so many good right-handed pitchers I did not include. Some of my hardest omissions, Cy Young, the award for the best pitchers named after him. I really only want to include one guy that pitched over a century ago. It's hard to really compare eras from that long ago. I went Walter Johnson slightly over Cy Young. I definitely could have understand if you want to include Cy Young. Probably the 2 other toughest omissions were Pedro Martinez, whose 4 to 5 year prime might be better than anyone ever, and Bob Gibson, who has the lowest ERA in a season. Other honorable mentions include Jim Palmer, Christy Mathewson, Nolan Ryan, Juan Marichal, Pete Alexander, Ed Walsh, and 2 active pitchers, Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. So there you have it. This was super challenging. Let me know in the comments who you would include, who, if you agree, who you disagree with, who you would put on. I'd love to hear. Tomorrow we will take a look at the southpaw starting pitchers, left-handed starting pitchers, so stay tuned for that. This one was a doozy, though, to attempt to do. Don't forget to subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.